Dating back to the 2nd century BC, the Han Dynasty stood as the second imperial dynasty in China's history, with aspirations that extended beyond its imperial status. Originally aiming to address the persistent challenge of conflicts with the Xiongnu tribes along the northern and western borders, Emperor Wu of the Han Dynasty, in 138 BC, opted to dispatch an envoy. The purpose was to explore the possibility of forging an alliance or securing support from the Yuezhi in the western regions. Journeying through Central Asia, the emissary Zhang Qian encountered an array of novel people and cultures. Among them, he developed a keen fascination for the Daiwan people, with a particular emphasis on their horses, a subject that captivated Qian. While the Han Dynasty had a history of utilizing horses in warfare, dating back to the 11th century BC Shang Dynasty, where cavalry and chariots were prevalent, Zhang Qian perceived the horses of Dayuan as notably superior to those bred in China. Impressed by the size, strength, and speed of the Dayuan horses, Zhang Qian reported his findings to Emperor Wu. Consequently, Wu chose to acquire some of these Western horses. In a brief span, leveraging their newfound horsepower, the Han Dynasty effectively countered the Xiongnu threat. In awe of the accomplishments resulting from Zhang Qian's Western journey and the collaborative opportunities it fostered, Emperor Wu took a bold step forward. In 130 BC, he formally inaugurated the Silk Road, creating a network of trade routes that spanned approximately 4,000 miles. This extensive route connected the east to the west, stretching from the Han in China to the far reaches of Europe. However, the Silk Road was not the inaugural international trade route. The credit for the first network of such roads goes to the Persians, led by Darius I and the Persian Empire. The original trade route, known as the Royal Road, extended from Susa, situated in present-day Iran, to the west, reaching nearly 2,000 miles to Sardis, which is now part of Turkey. The Persians expanded the main Royal Road by incorporating smaller routes, which extended to parts of the Indian subcontinent and northern Africa. This comprehensive network came into existence approximately 300 years before the inauguration of the Silk Road. While eventually overshadowed by the Silk Road, the Persian Royal Road was indeed remarkable. The accounts of its messengers, as documented by Herodotus, later served as the foundation for the creed of the United States Postal Service. Nevertheless, the Silk Road swiftly emerged as the paramount route, or routes, for messengers, merchants, and explorers alike. These roads served various purposes, primarily facilitating commercial trade. Although the term Silk Road was not coined until the late 19th century, it undeniably played a pivotal role in the extensive trade of silks across the regions it traversed. For an extended period, silk exclusively emanated from China. The Chinese, having discovered the art of harvesting silk from silkworm cocoons, strategically kept this knowledge concealed from the rest of the world. The establishment of the Silk Road network enabled the sale of silk and its associated products throughout Europe. It was the Romans in the far west, in particular, who developed a deep affection for this Chinese commodity. The Romans' almost obsessive fascination with silk serves as a prominent illustration of how the Silk Road acted not only as a conduit for the exchange of goods between the East and West, but also as a vehicle for the dissemination of culture and new ideas to each region it traversed. Regarding Rome and silk, the extraordinary demand for this product within the empire eventually resulted in an unfavorable balance of trade, a circumstance that deeply perturbed the emperors. Although no corrective measures were taken before the fall of the Western Roman Empire in 476, the Eastern Roman Empire, or the Byzantines, assumed the responsibility. Their emperor took decisive action to address the issue. Emperor Justinian, upon identifying the source of this captivating material, dispatched 2 men under cover as monks to China. Their mission was to steal enough silkworms to initiate a new silk production in Byzantium. The expedition proved successful, allowing the Eastern Roman Empire to avert the same trade imbalance caused by the high-priced silk that affected their Western counterpart. Silk wasn't the sole sought-after export along the Silk Road. Moving from east to west, a variety of products, including teas, dyes, spices, porcelain, paper, gunpowder, and medicine, were regularly traded. Paper and gunpowder, in particular, went on to exert significant influences in the contemporary European world. Gunpowder revolutionized warfare, while paper quickly became the predominant medium for writing. Just as Eastern trade altered Western culture and the world, the West reciprocated by influencing the East. Western merchants traded goods like glassware, textiles, animal furs, fruits, honey, live animals, rugs, blankets, armor, and equestrian essentials. In this exchange, we witness the dissemination of inspiration for novel thinking and ways of life through the network of trade routes. This doesn't even encompass the spread of religions and ideologies facilitated by the merchants and travelers themselves. Surprisingly, despite the extensive Silk Road network, most merchants, messengers, and travelers rarely traversed the entire route. In reality, the majority of traders would cover only a portion of the journey, selling or trading their goods to another merchant who would then continue the cycle. This system gave rise to a significant network of middlemen and also facilitated the establishment of new businesses. Inns and resting places for the common caravans began emerging along the routes. On the less lawful side, robbers found ample employment. However, there was one exception: a man who embarked on a journey from one end to the other. Later, he would gain fame for documenting his travels and contributing to the road's renown through his writings about the journey. It was Marco Polo, at the young age of 17, who spent 3 years alongside his father traversing the Silk Road until they finally arrived at the Chinese palace of Kublai Khan in 1275 AD. The Polos extended their stay in Asia for several more years, during which the young man explored unfamiliar places, encountered people, and immersed himself in cultures beyond his previous imagination. Upon Marco Polo's return home to Venice in 1295, having once again traveled along the Silk Road, he brought back the wealth of knowledge and experiences acquired during his time in Asia. He shared this wealth with the European world through his book, The Travels of Marco Polo. Language, culture, religion, and the spirit of discovery were just a few aspects of the myriad elements exchanged along the Silk Road, rendering this ancient trade network an invaluable chapter in the history of our world today. The Silk Road served as a conduit for the spread of diseases as well, and numerous historians suggest that it might have played a role in the transmission of the devastating Black Death in the 14th century. However, the Silk Road endured for only another 100 years. The decline of the Silk Road can be attributed to the Ottoman Empire's conquest of Byzantium. Once the Ottomans seized control, they severed all trade with the West, effectively shutting down the Silk Road. In response to this blockade on land, many Europeans sought alternative routes and turned to sea exploration, hoping to find ways around the trade restrictions. This marked the onset of the Age of Discovery, paving the way for the subsequent European expeditions to the New World. These voyages played a pivotal role in shaping many countries as we know them today. Indeed, the Silk Road itself played a crucial role in shaping these monumental moments in history. The opportunities presented by the remarkable trade network fueled a European appetite for exploration and global trade, ultimately driving them to the seas in response to the Ottoman intervention. The legacy of the Silk Road resonates in the transformative events that unfolded during the Age of Discovery and the subsequent European expeditions to the New World. The Silk Road operated in a multitude of ways. Beyond its obvious role as a hub for international trade and commerce, these routes opened up opportunities for new journeys and exploration. They facilitated the easier passage of messengers from east to west, fostering the sharing and exchange of cultures, languages, religions, ideas, and developmental knowledge. However, it's important to acknowledge that the Silk Road also played a role in the transmission of diseases.